All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Holly Holiday, president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, co-convener of Win with Black Women. And we are excited. You know how excited I get about the candidate spotlight. So that's what's happening. We have yet another fantastic, wonderful, amazing Black woman running for office. This time we are on the West Coast, y'all. We're going to be talking about uh, Ericka Wiley, who's running for Superior Court judge in in Los Angeles. But before we get to her, let's just remind you why we are doing this, how important this is. So first and foremost, it's important to understand that we've had a historic number of Black women running for office this season, this election cycle. We started out with over 1,100 Black women on the ballot, and going into this general election, we still have more than 500 of them that are seeking your support and vote. We want to make sure that you recognize how important it is for us to consider Black women candidates. Why? Because let's be honest, representation matters. And we know one of the key places that representation matters is in our judiciary. We know that when we have representation on the bench, what it really means is that we have people who understand and recognize a whole lived experience that is connected to who we are and how that interfaces with the legal system. And so it is our privilege and pleasure today to introduce Ericka Wiley, who is running for Superior Court Judge, seat number 48. Ericka has come from a background of more than 20 years as a public defender. And let me just stop right there and say, we often get a lot of defense attorneys that run for these judges. We get an insane amount of prosecutors that run for these judge positions. But to have somebody who comes from a public defender background, someone who has seen up close and personal how the law can work both for and against clients simply because of their ability to marshal resources or access, that kind of background and insight is really invaluable for the bench. Now, I didn't put my little lawyer hat on here for a minute. And as a former person, one of my first jobs out of law school was working with legal aid. So I take this stuff seriously. And I tell you, there ain't enough folks with this type of background. Yes, we love her because she's a Black woman. Yes, we love her because of that demographic representation. But I can't even get through the introduction. I stopped on public defender and couldn't go no further. So let me just say that not only has she, in her public defender role, has she represented clients in criminal cases, but she's also supervised attorneys. She's got endorsements from, I think, everybody in Los Angeles, from Democratic clubs to the LA Times to unions and all the folks in between. The list is far too long to list, but I will also note here that in addition to her years of service, she's also a mother. She's also part of a blended family of with immigrant background, and she understands and is here to be part of the solution. Welcome, Ericka Wiley. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
I had a whole little tangent happen there. I'm sorry. Sometimes I had a whole little script plan and then something just popped in my head and I said, you got to explain to the people about this public defender thing.
Well, I appreciate that because
I'm
often not well received as a public defender, but you don't do this work unless you love it. For as long as I have, unless you love it and you want to do good work. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, listen, let's dive into the questions because we want to give the people what they want to hear. They're already chiming in and saying hello. We can't wait to hear from you. So I'm going to get out their way. Question number one is quite simply, why are you running for Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge, seat number 48?
Well, Holly, mostly for the reasons that you talked about. the number one, representation matters. And for years, I didn't see people who look like me on the bench, and certainly not people with the background that you talk about. 70% of the judges in LA County come from a prosecutorial background. 60% of those are white men. And so over my years, 24 years in practice, I didn't see myself on the bench. And it played out in what was happening in our courtrooms, the lack of empathy, the lack of understanding about the people from our communities, the underlying causes of crimes. The people are not just penal code sections, but they come from backgrounds, a lot of time marginalized backgrounds, which bring them to the criminal justice system. And so being raised by a single mother in South Central Los Angeles, I didn't have to get to court to know that there are causes of crime. There are reasons why so many Black men are in our system, so many brown people are in our system. And I really want to be a part of the solution, which understands that mass incarceration and putting everybody in prison for even minor crimes is not the way to public safety, that we have to get at the underlying causes of crime. So I see now that it's my time to run. As you mentioned, there are many Black women across the nation on the ballot. The laws in California have changed, unhandcuffing judges and allowing them to make systemic change. And I want to be a part of that. So that's why I'm running.
I love this. And I thank you for amplifying with better statistics than I would ever have, how important representation is. But also, I think beyond the life of a sentence or a determination at the end of a trial or plea, there's a life after. Sure. And I love that you bring that into why it's important to have someone like you. And in fact, not just someone like you, but you as a part of our judiciary. So let's roll right into question number 8. It's one of my favorite ones. And that is what issue, and not issue, but even system or process that you most want to impact, and what's been in the way of making that impact prior to you seeking to be on the bench?
Well, I'm just going to say that for me, seeing over 25 years, the systems that have been put in place that support mass incarceration, they have to be dismantled. This is one of the main issues and the reason why I'm running. I think that our county in particular has gotten comfortable with seeing prison as the default position in many cases, even cases of nonviolent crime. There certainly is a lot of truth to the idea that there's a school to prison pipeline for many people in our marginalized communities. And so I really want to impact that. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. And one of the main things that I think needs to change in our system, people who recognize that this is not a way to public safety, bench officers who recognize that people are not simply encompassed by the crime that they've committed, and to utilize some of our community-based solutions, diversion, addressing the issues of mental health that impact many of my clients, addressing issues of homelessness and drug addiction, and really making a real change in advance of public safety. So those are the things that I'd like to put in place and to impact as a bench officer.
There's so much goodness there. I can't even focus on just one thing. I mean, I don't know. We have many folks listening, which is incredible. And thank you all for being a part of this live with us. And I think, like those people listening, how encouraging, and I would dare say a little bit inspiring, to have someone on the bench thinking about the way that a lot of these issues, these social issues in particular, impact what might be happening in a courtroom, what might be happening related to the matter that sits before you. And I think it is a perspective that can uniquely come from your background as a public defender, because, in that role, you're not only dealing with the defendant, you're also dealing with their family. You have to think about the the other people who've been impacted by the charges, and how to create a space where I don't know if there's a win-win opportunity, but certainly that people are moved to a better place than what they started with when they came out. And so I'm just really loving and appreciating. And I know from my time in being a legal aid attorney, I wish I had a judge on the bench like you, who would be open to understanding not just the matter before them, but the context in which those things started to happen.
Absolutely. And judges need to recognize that we're all community members. And a lot of times we try to make a division between victims and defendants. You know, a lot of the victims in my cases are the family members of mentally ill people, of people addicted to drugs. And so there's no win-win in that family, right? There just needs to be a change and a support for changing that person's life, because that's what everybody wants. So yeah,
I mean, and even in the and especially, I think, when we think about it from a Black community and immigrant community perspective, many of these incidents are happening in close relationship to each other.
Yes.
So even outside of the family, maybe even our chosen family, our friends, our neighbors, our community members, and either way, there's really, like you said, there's really no win when the community is in pain like that. So I definitely appreciate, all of what you're sharing here. Well, let's have a little fun. Let's talk about, I mean, that's probably not a phrase that folks will hear much when related to a criminal court system, but let's talk about the joy. Let's talk about question number 3. Our third question and final question is, assume that I haven't ever been to Los Angeles and haven't had any contact with the people or communities in Los Angeles. Tell me something exciting that makes you proud or excited to be a judge in this community.
Wow. I'd have to say, first and foremost, the diversity of my community. California and LA County in particular is a melting pot of ethnic diversity. I'm a foodie, so the food opportunities across, my county, Mexican restaurants, Indian restaurants, anything that you might be looking for, the language diversity, the cultural diversity, the street fairs. It's really amazing. And, I've lived in different parts of the country. I, got my undergrad at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. I've lived in Ohio, where I went to law school. But this place is really just a bastion of ethnic diversity. And I love that about my community. So that's something I would, hype up about LA. And then, what you hear is true. It's summer here all year round for the most part. We're in November now, and I'm looking out my window at a, 7-degree sunny day. The beach is amazing. Our Hollywood community, there's always opportunities to take advantage of concerts and stargazing. So yeah, this LA is really all that they say.
I love it. I love it. This is amazing. Well, listen, you don't have to convince us about the City of Angels. We're really excited. We're excited about your leadership in it. And I mean, this has been really a really solid conversation. I think we've really given the people a lot to think about. And most importantly, I think we've given them fantastic reasons to support you. Yes. And so let's make sure that they know how to do that. Please reach out to Ericka Wiley on wileyforjudge.com. That's Wiley, FOR, judge.com. She's also Wiley, the number 4 judge on Instagram. And then on Facebook, Ericka Wiley for Judge 2024. And listen, don't just reach out and say hello, although we appreciate that as well. Reach out and donate some money because, despite popular belief, understand that it costs money to run for these offices. We want to make sure that you know more about her. Well, the way to know more about her is to send her a few bucks. Also, if you are interested in volunteering, if you want to help get the word out, share her content that she is putting up. Let people know how fabulous she is. Let people know how important it is to have somebody who represents the kind of experience and background that Ericka has shared with us today. And if nothing else, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this content so that others can learn the way you have learned today. We all know at least one person in LA. I know y'all do. So please make sure that you're sharing this content so that they understand that they have this very amazing opportunity to vote for Ericka Wiley. In the meantime, thank you, Ericka, so much for being a part of this.
This was amazing.
Oh, good. I'm so glad it worked out for us, and we want it to work out for others. We're not done yet. We got more spotlights coming up. The next one is Sephora Miller, who is running for, yep, you got it, Prince George's County Board of Education, District 5. We're going back east to Maryland. Next after that, we have Karen Camper, who's running for the state legislature. Re-election actually in the state legislature in Tennessee. And so you don't want to miss it because we are zigzagging coast to coast. Our next one is going to be October 24th. That's going to be Thursday at 10 a.m. So catch us in the a.m. time. And if you miss us, don't forget you can check us out on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, and of course, YouTube for all of the Win with Black Women and Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote content. Again, say thank you. Big thumbs up. We're getting thumbs up across the board for you. So it was a success all around. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
You're welcome.